So we went to CIY Move in Cleveland, Tennessee, and kind of unexpectedly, it changed me a lot. I wasn't really expecting much out of it because honestly, last year's wasn't the biggest life-changing event in my life, so I wasn't really expecting much, but it was a definite moving experience, I guess.
It wasn't that we didn't have a good time last year. Like, we had a lot of fun. There was a lot of people. Yeah. But I think this year, like, what had made the trip last year was the people and that there was a lot of us, and it was at a really pretty campus, and I think we kind of expected that, and that's not what we got, but we got something else that was, like, really good in exchange, and it was a really life-changing experience. And I think we've just always, like, I mean, we've grown up in the church, so we've always gone on these trips, and we don't expect them to really, like, dig into our hearts, and I think it just ended up doing that, like, subconsciously. But it ended up being really good. We had a lot of fun.
Yeah, most of it was worship. We had, like, worship, like, 3 or 4 times a day, which, I don't know, people would think it was overwhelming, but we liked it. So, and after every morning we had devotion time to ourselves, and then D group, and then we'd go and play volleyball or something and just have fun for a while.
And the theme this year was Move, and it was more that we would have a different, like, little sub-theme every day, and so all 5 days we had something new. We learned about, like, the Holy Spirit and boldness and community, and we just, like, everything that we would do all throughout the day would focus on that certain topic. And we would have, like, a devotional in the morning where we would kind of dig into that topic on our own after hearing a speaker, and then we would talk, like, in a D group with like, I was with girls and Sean was with boys, and it was like a smaller group setting where we did some Bible studies and stuff. And then in the afternoon we'd have, like, just kind of something random. One day we had a comedian, and another day we had a guy talk to us about this organization called Heart Support. So every day was different.
There was, like, a talent show one day.
Yeah, for the most part it'd stay the same, except we had, like, dodgeball tournaments and volleyball tournaments and a couple of other things like that. And every morning we would do this thing called the Crazy Man Competition. And the best part was we only had, how many of us? 10?
Yeah.
There's only 10 of us, and we were loud enough in the arena to get young Vove to be able to get caught up on stage, and Levi held him up on Pride Rock. And Vova had to eat an entire onion, and he did it, and the whole week everybody thought he was, like, famous, and he had to wear a little pink hat.
He had the worst breath I've ever smelled in my entire life.
We really didn't even want to finish the worship service after that. We just wanted Boba to take a shower. He stunk so bad.
Yeah. But we did something kind of new this trip also. Like, we were kind of thrown off because our group was always, like, 10 minutes late to worship for some reason. I'm not going to point any fingers at Logan, but that's basically, yeah. So we were late, and they're telling us to, like, rush there, and everybody's yelling at us to run inside, and we were like, what's going on? Like, we have no idea. And they're like, just go inside, get a number, and we don't know what's going on. So we go and grab a number, and we walk in, and it's me, John, and I think Vova, and we walk down the aisle, and everybody in the whole stadium arena thing just looks at us. And the guy at the stage is like, oh, here come the late ones. And we're like, oh, God. And the lady was telling us to, like, pay attention, but we didn't know what to pay attention to. And ended up being that they split our group up, and each person in our group kind of got sent into a different group of people we didn't even know, like, from other churches, and we did, like, a kind of like a D group thing with people we didn't even know, and each group had, like, a leader, of course, and we did, like, activities where we had to find some, like, gorilla or a Viking or something like that. but I don't know, most of it was like getting to know each other activities like pyramids and stuff, but we also had some good discussions and prayer, and I don't know, it was pretty eventful.
I think surprisingly that was the most difficult part of the week for me, just because I wouldn't have thought that it would be because I'm an outgoing person, but it was like really weird for me to be in a group with nobody that I knew, and just people from all over the country that you've never met before, and you're just like forced to spend an hour a day with them and really like share some things and like get outside your comfort zone. And I mean, it was a really good thing to practice for the theme, because we talked about being bold and moving all week, and so that's something that you'll need to do, is like get outside your comfort zone in order to share your faith. And so it was a really good practice, but that was definitely the most difficult thing for me all week. But it really does like end up changing you a lot more than you expected. I think we just went in there thinking that we were just kind of going to go with the flow and have a good time, and we weren't necessarily apathetic, but I don't think we were near as excited as what we should have been. And once we got there, it just, like the worship and just some things that you hear that really like strike you, or like something really heavy on your heart that you just have really needed to hear, and they just stress the importance of sharing. I think the thing that changed me the most was the day about community. It just like stressed the importance of being a part of the church and having relationships with people and other followers of Christ. And then also the boldness day taught us a lot about how to reach out and share the gospel with people. And just growing up in church, I think all our lives we've like been labeled as a Christian, but never, and we may like act accordingly, but never really reached out. In my D group, when we talked about how many people we've shared the gospel with, there was really any of us that have ever just actually told somebody about Jesus' love. And I think that for me, the trip really changed that, and it like gave me a desire to want to do that for people.
Yeah, like I'll like kind of into that, like one of the most difficult things for me was we had I think towards the end of the trip we had to come up with like a year-long plan or something of what we wanted to do to move, like to kind of put all our week into action, and like it's whatever kind of was hitting you in the heart the most, and you had to come up with like a specific plan with detail on what you're going to do this month to achieve it. And it was kind of tough to think of what I really wanted to do, but when you start to think about it, it really hits you hard of like what's really been on your mind lately that year. And it's been a great thing that we've done, and even though it was difficult, it's kind of changed my view of how I should share my faith with people.
And I think that a sense of community and being bold kind of went hand in hand, in the sense that we like built relationships with people within our youth group that can hold us accountable of like fulfilling our goals and making sure that we're up to date on them, and just staying in the Word and not making it just a week-long experience that felt good at the time, but something that really not only like changed our lives, but that will change other people's lives too.